Welcome back to my channel. Episode 14 today. It's really episode 14. So as you saw in the title, today's episode is about the key to not worrying is to stop worrying. So you may have heard me say this in passing a few videos ago when the topic of worry came up, and I mentioned that worry is a waste of time, and that is my standing on worry. It truly is a waste of time, everybody. If you ever really stop to think about it, it doesn't solve anything. So it eats up our time and our energy, but is non-productive and doesn't make us feel any better either. In fact, it has the opposite effect. So here's some basic info about worry. Worry is feelings of unease and anxiety about something or someone, and it's often accompanied by thoughts of potential problems and negative outcomes. So anticipating worst case scenario would apply to that. It's a natural response to uncertainty or challenging situations, and the trick is to not get caught up in the worry and let it take over and manifest in all kinds of negative ways in your life. So our fears can overlap with worry and increase the intensity of the feelings that we're having when it comes to fear, anxiety, and worry. So it's kind of a non-stop loop. If you let it become a loop, the interaction between fear and worry. So I'm going to give you some tips today on how to deal with the worry. It's like many things, like everything really, it's individual to each person and our life experience and circumstances and past experiences. So there's some basic guidelines I can give you, but it's not going to apply to everyone. Of course, we're all different. So there's many different types of worry, and here's just a few. But the future, worrying about what might happen. The past, worrying about things that have already happened. Again, no control, can't change it. Worried about our health, worried about financial situations, worry about relationships, worry about work or school, and existential worry, wondering what our place is in the world and what's the meaning of our life and what is our purpose. There's plenty of other things to worry about. It's tiny, small things like what to make for dinner. What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? I have plans to be outside. Or some of these major topics which I just mentioned. So characteristics of worry fall into mainly two categories, mental and physical. The mental characteristics of worry include some of these things: repetitive thoughts, a feeling of a lack of control, confusion and intense fear, and mental exhaustion from getting on that hamster wheel of worry and fear and going around and round in circles without taking proactive steps to look for solutions. So physical characteristics of worry can include a feeling of restlessness, not being able to sit still, just a constant anxiety throughout your being, or the opposite, a feeling of exhaustion when we put too much energy into the worrying and the fear, and it literally makes us mentally and physically exhausted. Other physical characteristics would be the sense and feeling of tension throughout your body, having difficulty concentrating, isolation from others, and physical maladies like high blood pressure, headaches, migraines can all stem from excessive worry. So why do we worry? Well, it's a way to anticipate and prepare for potential threats or difficulties that we foresee. It is a survival mechanism, and it's rooted in our instinct and closely related to fear. That's meant to protect ourselves from perceived harm. So it is a survival mechanism. But many times, and we've all experienced this at some point in our lives, worry becomes excessive, and that's when it's harmful and it interferes with our ability to enjoy the present moment or function throughout our day. So here are the side effects of excessive worry: increased anxiety, insomnia, physical health problems, as I mentioned before, impaired decision making, not being able to decide because we're stuck on the worry, decreased productivity, negative impact on relationships, and if carried on for too long, can lead to depression. But there are times when worry benefits us, and it would be either when there's a genuine problem or a threat, or a rational concern that warrants action. So, worry's not always a bad thing. It's when we get stuck on it and we're not using it to be proactive and take steps to resolve whatever it is that we're worrying about. But when not to worry is when the situation is beyond our control, or when worry serves no productive purpose, or in hypothetical scenarios that we may create in our mind that are unlikely to happen. These are all examples of when it's not good to worry. So how can we stop worrying? Well, sorry everybody, but the first one on the list is mindfulness. Focusing on the present moment, realistically taking a look at the situation, especially if it's a past or present worry, and realizing that all the worrying in the world isn't going to change either what already happened or what may happen. Other ways to stop worrying include challenging our negative thoughts and questioning the validity of our worries, considering a balanced perspective, take our mind off the worry and start to be proactive about what to do about this worry, which includes taking the steps and IDing steps to address and take proactive measures. Some recommend setting aside 10 minutes a day to worry. So instead of letting it seep into your thoughts and throughout your day, specifically setting aside some time to let yourself just worry for 5 or 10 minutes and get it out of your system. But then take a stand, be strong, and don't allow that worry to creep into other parts of your day. And just remind yourself that you've got that time set aside later to do all the worrying you want to do, but within a limited time. Don't let it take over. Don't let it take over. Another couple of suggestions for how to stop worrying would be the self-care, any activities that promote relaxation and well-being. Take your mind off the worry. And, as always, seeking support from friends, family, and or professionals. When you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to reach out and ask for help. Overcoming worry can be tricky. And just telling yourself that it does no good doesn't always stop the process. So here's a couple suggestions of how to overcome that worry when it arises. Identify the triggers. What are the specific situations, thoughts, or beliefs, or behaviors that trigger you into this worry state of mind? So try to be more cognizant of your thoughts and what's going on around you that may be triggering your worry. Challenging negative thoughts is always a good idea, and mindfulness, overcoming worry by being present in the moment. So this whole concept of worry is tied in with my last couple of episodes. Moving through fear, and if you're stuck, how to be unstuck. So these three things are closely related, and I purposefully put them back to back. So hopefully you are starting to hear the message and get the idea that a lot of these concepts that I repeat and talk about in each episode can help us through many of these challenges, but especially when it comes to fear and worry that are so closely related. These concepts of being present, mindfulness, meditation, self-care, relaxation techniques, breaking things down into steps, taking a bigger view of the situation. These are all aspects of tools that we can use to help us through these processes of working through fear and moving. I want to thank you for joining me again. Many of you have been returning, and I appreciate your views and your patience with me as I develop my channel. So this is my lesson for today. It's brief. A lot of these messages are starting to contain elements that are repeated, and I don't want to spend too much time elaborating on things that I've talked about in other videos. So thanks again for joining me today. I'm going to do a separate sound bath video on meditation to release worry, and I'll be cranking that out sometime today. But again, thanks a lot, and I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you soon.